city was dead. Smoke covered the sky like a dark blanket, and the streets were full of broken walls, burnt machines and silent shadows. The war between humans and the alien race called Valari had ended only a week ago. But for Evan Cole, a young soldier, the war was still alive inside his head. He moved slowly through the ruins with his pulse rifle ready, his boots crunching on glass and ash. Every echo made him turn. The orders were clear: no survivors. The Valari were dangerous, shape-shifting, and able to hide even from scanners. But that night, something felt different. As he passed the remains of a temple, he heard a faint sound, a soft cry, almost like a human voice. It was coming from under a pile of broken stones near the steps. He pointed his rifle and stepped closer, heart pounding. "Who's there?" He called out. No answer, and only another weak, trembling sound. It wasn't a growl. It wasn't a threat. It was a cry for help. Evan knelt down and pushed aside the debris. Beneath it, he saw her, and a girl. Her skin was pale with a strange blue glow, and her hair shimmered like silver dust. She was small, fragile, and covered in dirt and blood. Her eyes opened. They were bright violet, shining even in the dark. She looked at him with fear and pain. "Please," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Don't lift my skirt." Evan froze. It wasn't the words that scared him. It was the way she said them. So desperate, so afraid, like it wasn't just about shame. But danger. He lowered his rifle. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said quietly. "I'm a medic. I can help." She shook her head weakly. "No, you can't, please. Go." He looked around. The air smelled like metal and fire. If he left her there, she would die in minutes. Whatever she was, an enemy or not, he couldn't do that. Evan pulled out his scanner and aimed it at her. The device beeped strangely. No life signs detected. He frowned. That was impossible. She was breathing. Her pulse was weak but real. He could see her chest rise and fall. "What the hell?" he muttered. The girl's lips trembled. "Your machine doesn't see me," she said softly. "It's not supposed to." Her voice was haunting, calm and broken at the same time. Evan didn't understand, but he couldn't leave her. He lifted her gently into his arms. Her body felt cold, too light, almost hollow. "Hold on," he said. "There's an old bunker nearby. You'll be safe there." As he carried her through the dark streets, she didn't resist, but she kept whispering, "Don't look. Please don't look." The words echoed in his head again and again. Finally, he reached the bunker, an old shelter used during the first invasion. The doors creaked as he pushed them open. Inside, it was quiet and dusty. He laid her on a cot and lit a small lantern. Her robe was torn in many places, stained with blood and dirt. The glow under her skin pulsed softly like living light. Evan tried to clean her wounds, but the blood didn't look red. It shimmered silver and vanished when it touched the cloth. She winced in pain, her hand grabbing his wrist. "Please," she said again, her eyes full of tears. "Don't lift my skirt." Evan nodded slowly. "Okay, I won't, I promise." He sat beside her, confused and uneasy. He had seen many things during the war. Alien weapons, dying soldiers, strange powers. But nothing like this. He asked her name. She hesitated before whispering, "Leary, Leary," he repeated softly. "Why are you here? Why didn't you run with your people?" She looked away. "Because I am not one of them anymore." Her words sent a chill down his spine. "What do you mean?" But she didn't answer. Instead, she closed her eyes and began to cry. Silent, glowing tears that rolled down her cheeks and vanished in the air. Evan leaned back, staring at her. The lantern light flickered, and for a moment her shadow on the wall didn't match her shape. It moved differently, slower, heavier, like something was hiding beneath her skin. He turned off the scanner and sat quietly, watching her sleep. The city outside groaned with the wind, but the bunker was silent except for her breathing. As the hours passed, the light in her wounds started to fade, and the room grew cold. Evan tried to stay calm, but unease crawled through him. Why did she beg him not to lift her skirt? What could possibly be there that scared her so much? When he finally looked at her face again, she was already watching him. Her violet eyes glowed in the dark. "Evan," she said softly, using his name, though he never told her. He froze. Her voice trembled. "If you lift it, you will never be the same." The lantern flickered once more and then went out. Darkness filled the bunker. Only the faint glow from the alien girl's skin gave the room any light. Evan sat frozen, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. She had said his name, but he never told her. "Leary," he whispered. "How do you know who I am?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were open, bright like stars, but her voice was gone. It was as if she had already fallen into a dream, or something deeper. Evan turned on a small lantern again. The walls were old, cracked, and covered with symbols from the first invasion. The air felt heavy. The silence pressed against him like a weight. He looked at Leary. Her body trembled. The silver glow under her skin pulsed faster. It wasn't normal bleeding. It looked like light trying to escape. "Stay with me," he said, taking her hand. "You're safe now." She didn't move, but the air around her seemed to vibrate. A soft hum filled the bunker, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. Evan's training told him to call for command, to report any strange energy signs. But his heart said something else. He had seen too much death, too much fear. Maybe saving her was the only good thing left he could do. He opened his pack and took out a healing injector. "This should help," he murmured. The needle touched her arm, and the injector cracked with a burst of static. The machine died instantly. Smoke rose from its wires. Evan cursed under his breath. "What the hell?" The girl's voice came weakly like an echo. "Human tools cannot fix what is not human." He looked at her, confused and afraid. "Then what can I do?" Her eyes opened again, glowing faintly. "Don't try to fix me. Just listen." "Listen to what?" he asked. "To the silence," she said. "It's not empty. It's speaking." He didn't understand. But then, as he sat quietly, he heard it, a faint whisper beneath the hum. It was like hundreds of tiny voices, layered and distant, all crying at once. He stood up quickly, scanning the walls. "Who's there?" The voices stopped. The hum faded. Only her breathing remained. He turned back toward her. "Leary, what is this place?" She shook her head slowly. "You call it a bunker. But it's not. It's a grave." Evan's throat tightened. "A grave?" She nodded weakly. "My people built this place long ago, before the war, to hide what they feared most." What did they fear? Her gaze met his, full of pain. "The truth," Evan frowned. "What truth?" She turned her head away, her silver hair shining faintly. "If you see it, you won't come back. That's why I begged you not to look." Her words struck him like a blade. She was afraid not for herself, but for him. He tried to stay calm, but his curiosity burned inside him. "You keep talking about something hidden. What is it?" "What's under your skirt, Leary?" She gasped softly, her hand clutching her robe tighter. "No, don't ask that. You don't understand. It's not shame. It's protection, for both of us." Evan sighed, stepping back. He wanted to believe her, but nothing made sense. The war had taught him one rule. If you don't understand it, it's probably dangerous. Still, something about her didn't feel like danger. It felt like sorrow. He sat beside her again, noticing how her wounds glowed less now. Maybe she was healing herself somehow. "Why do you trust me?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Because you didn't shoot me." He almost laughed. Almost. But her eyes were too serious. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Dust fell from the ceiling. The war might be over, but the world above was still falling apart. Evan leaned his head back, staring at the dim light from her skin. It was peaceful. Too peaceful. Then, without warning, the bunker lights flickered on by themselves. The old control panels began to beep, their dead screens glowing blue. Lines of alien symbols flashed across the walls. Evan jumped to his feet. "Leary, what's happening?" Her eyes widened in fear. "I told you," she whispered. "This place remembers." The air grew colder. The lights pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Each pulse grew brighter, faster. The floor vibrated. Evan ran to her side, holding her shoulders. "Stop it, you're going to burn yourself out." She looked up at him, tears in her glowing eyes. "You shouldn't have saved me." The light exploded once, then vanished. When the silence returned, Leary lay still. Her skin dimmed to a faint shimmer. Evan checked her pulse. Still there, but weak. He brushed her hair back gently, his heart heavy. Outside, he heard something, footsteps in the rubble. More soldiers? Scavengers? He didn't know. He grabbed his rifle and stood guard. He had no idea why he was protecting her, only that he couldn't let anyone else find her. As he turned back, she whispered again, barely audible. "If you lift it, the world will change." Evan stared at her, his chest tightening. He didn't know what she meant. But somehow he believed her. And deep inside, a voice whispered in his own mind, "Don't do it, Evan." The night was long. Evan didn't sleep. He sat near the alien girl, watching the faint glow from her skin fade in and out like a dying heartbeat. The bunker was quiet again, but his mind wasn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard her voice. "If you lift it, the world will change." He didn't know what she meant. He didn't even know what she was. All he knew was that she wasn't normal. Her blood wasn't blood. Her body healed itself. Machines broke when they touched her, and yet, she cried like a human. Evan wanted to understand. But part of him feared the truth. At dawn, weak sunlight slipped through the cracks in the bunker roof. The war above still raged in small fires and distant explosions. Humanity had won, but victory felt hollow, like silence after screaming too long. Leary moved slightly. Her eyes opened halfway. "You're still here," she whispered. "Yeah," Evan said softly. "I told you I wouldn't leave." "You should have," she murmured. "They will come soon." "Who?" he asked. "The collectors," she said faintly. "They clean what's left of us," he frowned. "Your people?" She shook her head. "No, yours." Her words hit him like cold rain. He knew what she meant. Human cleanup squads. They destroyed alien remains, took samples, erased evidence. Anything they didn't understand, they burned. Evan clenched his fists. "Then we need to move." He helped her sit up slowly. But as he touched her shoulder, a wave of cold ran through his arm. Her skin wasn't like human skin. It felt alive, like it was breathing. "Careful," she said quietly. "You'll see too much." He met her eyes. "Then tell me what you are." She looked down at her robe, her hands trembling. "I was made to be seen but not known," she said. "That's why I hide." "Made?" Evan asked. "You mean created?" She nodded. "Not born. Not like you. My people built me from what was left of yours." Evan froze. "What are you saying?" Leary looked at him sadly. "Your dead became our seed. Your pain became our start." He couldn't speak. His heart raced, his mind spinning. The Valari were supposed to be a different species, not made from humans. But what if the war had been against something far closer? Evan stepped back. "That's not possible." Leary's voice trembled. "It's not only possible. It's true. You're fighting your own reflection." He stared at her, unable to believe. But deep down, something inside him already did. The ground above them shook. Distant engines roared. The collectors were near. Evan looked at her robe again, the torn cloth that she guarded with her life. The scanner said she was dead, yet she lived. She knew his name. She said she was made from humans. He couldn't stop thinking about what she was hiding. What if the proof was right there under that skirt? What if she wasn't lying? "Leary," he said slowly, "what's under there?" She looked terrified. "No," she said, shaking her head. "If you see it, you'll lose everything that makes you human." "I already lost that in the war," he said quietly. "I just want the truth." She started to cry. "Evan, please, don't. I'm not ready for you to know." But outside, the sound of machines grew louder. Time was running out. Evan crouched beside her. "If I don't understand what you are, I can't protect you." She closed her eyes. Her voice was almost a whisper. "Then protect yourself." "Forget me," he hesitated. His hands shook. He wanted to believe her. But the war had taken away his trust long ago. Slowly, he reached out toward the cloth. Leary gasped and grabbed his wrist. Her touch burned like ice. "Evan, stop!" He looked into her glowing violet eyes. "I have to know." Her tears fell like silver light floating before they touched the ground. "If you lift it," she whispered, "you'll see yourself." The engines outside stopped suddenly. Silence. Evan's breath caught. The world seemed to hold still. Even the air refused to move. He hesitated for one last moment, then lifted the edge of her skirt. A flash of light filled the bunker. Bright, cold, blinding. Evan stumbled back, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, he saw something that broke his voice, his mind, and everything he believed in. Under her skirt wasn't what he expected. It wasn't alien flesh. It wasn't a weapon. It was a human face. His own. Trapped inside a web of light and wires, eyes closed, mouth frozen as if in silent pain. Evan screamed and fell to his knees. What is this? Leary covered her face, crying softly. You wanted the truth, she said. Now you're part of it. The sound of machines returned outside and closer now. Evan couldn't move. His hands shook, his mind burning with horror and disbelief. He looked at her again. Why me? Why my face? Leary whispered through her tears. Because you are where I came from. The bunker lights flickered again. The voice in Evan's head and his own whispered back, now you understand. And now it's too late. Evan couldn't breathe. The image before him wouldn't fade. Beneath Leary's torn robe, glowing wires wrapped around a human face, his own face. Eyes closed, pale, surrounded by faint light. He stumbled back, hands shaking. That's not real, he whispered. That can't be real. Leary sat still, her silver hair falling over her eyes. You wanted to know, she said softly. Now you've seen. Evan felt his heart racing faster. How do you have my face? She didn't look at him. Because you gave it to me. He shook his head violently. I've never seen you before. I don't even know what you are. Leary raised her head. Her glowing violet eyes met his. You do. You just don't remember. The air in the bunker grew colder. The light from her skin flickered weakly, casting shadows that moved like smoke. Evan backed away until his shoulder hit the metal wall. His voice cracked. You're lying. You're trying to trick me, she sighed sadly. If only I were. He looked again at the glowing reflection, the face inside her. It looked alive but sleeping like a man buried under glass. His voice trembled. What are you, Leary? She hesitated before answering. I am a memory, she said. A copy of what was lost. I don't understand. My kind, she continued, we were made from your dead. When your people invaded our world, they left behind bodies, broken, burned, forgotten. The Valari took them. Not to harm, but to survive. We used what was left of you to rebuild ourselves. Evan's throat went dry. You mean you stole our dead? Leary shook her head. We honored them. We gave them life again. We thought we could become more than death. He clenched his fists. You used us. You built yourselves out of us. That's not life, and that's theft. Her tears shone faintly. Maybe, but it was the only way we could live. Evan turned away, pressing his hands against his head. His voice broke. So you're saying, you're part of me? Yes, she whispered. And more. You are my origin, my creator, my echo. Evan stared at her, shaking his head. He wanted to be angry, to hate her, but his anger turned into something else. Fear, sadness, guilt. Because deep inside, he remembered something. A battle 2 years ago. His unit ambushed. A bomb, the light, the screams. The pain. He had been reported dead. But he woke up later in a camp with no memory of what happened before that day. The doctors said shock. The army said lucky. But what if he didn't survive at all? He looked at Leary again, her trembling, her pain, her soft human-like tears. What are you hiding from me? He asked quietly. She looked down. The truth you're not ready for. Tell me anyway. She hesitated. Then in a trembling voice she said, You're not the original Evan Cole. You're what we made, from what was left of him. The world stopped moving. Evan stared at her in silence. His chest felt hollow, his legs weak. That's impossible, he said slowly. I'm human. I bleed, I breathe, she shook her head gently. You remember being human. That's different. He staggered back, his mind burning. His reflection in the metal wall looked strange. The eyes too bright, the veins under his skin faintly glowing. He pressed his hands against his chest, feeling for a heartbeat. It was there, but uneven, mechanical. No, he whispered. No, I'm real. I'm real. Leary reached for him, but he pulled away. Don't touch me, he shouted. You're lying. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't want you to know. That's why I begged you not to look. You were supposed to stay innocent. Why? He demanded. Why make me think I'm human? Because we wanted to believe you were, she said softly. We wanted to believe we could bring one back, truly back. Not just the body, but the soul. Evan felt dizzy. His thoughts swirled like smoke. So I'm a copy? A machine? You're both, she said. You're what happens when love and guilt try to fix death. The ground above them rumbled again. Dust fell from the ceiling. The collectors were almost here. Leary's glow flickered weakly. They will find us soon, she said. And if they do, they'll erase you, both of us. Because you're proof they went too far. Evan fell to his knees, trembling. Everything he knew, his memories, his name, his body, was built on a lie. He looked at her, voice breaking. Then what am I supposed to do? She leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter now. Choose. You can be what they made you to be, or what you truly are. He didn't answer. He just stared at the face under her skirt, his own trapped in light, and realized the awful truth. He wasn't looking at a monster. He was looking at his own ghost, and for the first time since the war began, Evan Cole was truly afraid of himself. Evan sat in silence. The bunker was dark again except for the faint blue glow from Leary's skin. His hands trembled as he stared at them, hands that suddenly felt borrowed. Every breath felt too even, too mechanical, as if something else inside him was keeping him alive. He could still hear Leary's words echoing in his head. You're not the original Evan Cole. You're what we made from what was left of him. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Leary sat across from him, weak and pale, her silver hair falling over her face. Evan, she said softly, your heart isn't false. Even if your body is not the same, what's inside you still feels. He shook his head. You don't know what you've done. You made me a lie. She looked down. No, I made you remember. He didn't understand. His memories felt real. His parents, his first patrol, the laughter of his friends before the war. But now every image in his mind looked like it was made of glass, clear, fragile, and fake. Stop, he said, holding his head. I can't think. Leary's eyes glowed faintly. Because your mind is waking. What does that mean? She touched her chest gently. When you lifted my skirt, the connection broke open. You saw your true self, and that awakened the link between us. We were never separate, Evan. We were built together. He stared at her. Built together? Yes, you are the body they tried to restore. I am the soul they tried to copy. Evan's heartbeat, or what felt like one, started to race. You mean, I am what's left of you, she said. The part that remembers what it means to be human. Evan staggered backward, clutching his chest. No, that's not possible. I'm not you. But even as he spoke, something inside him stirred. A soft pulse like another heartbeat under his own. Leary stood slowly, weak but calm. You can feel it now, can't you? He shook his head. Stop this. She took a step closer. When they rebuilt you, they didn't give you everything. They took your emotions and your fear, your love, your pain, and gave them to me. They split one soul into two bodies. You are the reason I exist. Evan's vision blurred. The world around him flickered. For a moment, he saw two versions of the bunker. One bright, one dark. Two worlds overlapping. What's happening? He gasped. Our minds, she whispered. They're crossing. He felt it then, her thoughts, her pain, her loneliness. Memories flooded his mind. A white lab, alien scientists working over a broken human body. The cold hum of machines. The whisper of an alien voice saying, let's save him, even if he never knows. He saw through her eyes in the moment she first opened them and saw light. The confusion, the fear, the memory of a human face in her reflection. He fell to his knees. Stop it, I don't want this. But Leary knelt beside him, tears glowing like silver drops. I can't stop it now. The link is complete. You feel what I feel. You see what I see. He looked at her through the haze of pain. Then you feel this too, the horror, the confusion. She nodded, crying. Yes, and I feel your guilt. They both gasped as another wave of energy burst through the room. The lights flickered. The air vibrated. The connection between them grew stronger. Evan's voice shook. What happens now? Her answer was soft. We become one again. He stared at her. No, I won't let that happen. I'm not ready to disappear. Leary smiled sadly. Neither was I. The ground trembled. A metallic roar echoed from outside. The collectors had arrived. But Evan couldn't move. His vision split completely. One half of him standing in the bunker, the other in Leary's mind. He saw her memories mixing with his. Laughter, sunlight, water, pain. Two lives tangled like threads of light. Then he heard a voice. His own, but not from his mouth. Don't fight it, Evan. You can't win against yourself. He turned and saw the reflection of his face in the bunker's metal wall. But the reflection smiled when he didn't. Leary reached for his hand. We were always one person. We just forgot. Their hands touched and then the world went white. Evan's body jerked. He gasped as his mind slipped into hers completely. He could feel her heartbeat, her sorrow, her love, everything she carried that once belonged to him. And in that moment, he understood. He wasn't human. He wasn't alien. He was both, a bridge between two broken halves of a single soul. When the light faded, only one of them stood. Her silver hair glowed faintly. Her eyes were violet and blue, human and Valari together. She whispered in a trembling voice, "I am Evan, and I am Leary." The collectors outside broke through the rubble, but she didn't run. She smiled weakly, whispering to the empty air, "You can't kill what's already shared." The light from her body brightened, filling the bunker with a gentle human warmth. And for the first time, the war outside fell silent. The air smelled of smoke and rust. Dust drifted through the cracked roof like falling stars. The bunker was silent, but the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was breathing Evan. Or Leary. No, both. Stood still, feeling the pulse of two hearts inside one fragile body. Her skin glowed softly, a pale mix of silver and human warmth. Her reflection in the cracked metal wall stared back with two colors of light. One violet, one blue. She whispered, "We are one." But the voice that answered came from inside her own mind. "No, then we are not. Not yet." It was Evan, the human part of her, his voice deep and steady, echoing like a memory. She closed her eyes. "You're still here, and so are you," he replied. "I can feel everything you feel." Images flashed through their shared mind. His memories of Earth, his mother's smile, his squad's laughter, the burning cities of the Valari homeworld, the children hiding in fear. Two histories stitched together by pain. Leary, or what was left of her, trembled. "This is wrong," she whispered. "We were never meant to merge." Evan's voice was quiet. "Maybe this is the only way to end it." Outside, thunder rolled, not from the sky but from the ground. The human collectors were here, searching the ruins for survivors, for witnesses. She could sense them, their heat, their machines, their fear. They were human, and yet strangers. Her new mind couldn't hate them anymore. Leary turned toward the bunker door. "They'll kill us if they see what we've become." "Then we don't let them see," Evan said. She hesitated, feeling the weight of his thoughts pressing against hers. He was stronger, more decisive, colder. She was softer, slower, but full of empathy. Together they were something in between, something dangerous and beautiful. She stepped out of the bunker. The world above was gray and broken. The ruins of the Valari city stretched for miles, towers melted by plasma fire, streets filled with ash. The human war drones floated above, scanning for life. She ducked behind a burned wall. Her glowing skin dimmed, her mind trying to hide the energy that lived inside. But Evan's voice whispered, "Don't hide. They need to see." "See what?" she asked. "That the war ended with us." She took a slow breath. "If they find us, they'll destroy everything. Then they'll destroy the proof that we were both wrong," he said bitterly. She could feel his sorrow under his words. Deep, old human sorrow. She remembered his last memory before death. Soldiers laughing before a battle. Then the flash of a bomb. The guilt of surviving when others didn't. The emptiness after victory. He had carried that pain alone. Now she carried it too, she whispered. "You were human because you cared. I see that now." "And you were alive because you hoped," he answered softly, even when everything burned. She felt her chest tighten, their emotions mixing like storm clouds. The line between them blurred. Who was speaking now? Who was listening? Her steps slowed as she reached the open square where the temple once stood. The wind carried ashes and faint voices, the ghosts of both species whispering in her head. She looked down at her hands. They were human, but faint lines of silver light traced her veins. "Evan," she whispered, "what if we can't separate? What if this is forever?" His answer came quietly. "Then we make it mean something." The hum of engines grew louder. A human dropship descended, scanning the area. A red beam swept across the ground. It stopped when it hit her. Leary froze. "Target found," a mechanical voice said through the speakers. Unregistered life form detected. The soldiers moved in armored, faceless. Their rifles glowed blue. Leary raised her hand slowly. "Wait," she called out. "Please. I'm not your enemy." The soldiers stopped. One stepped forward. "Identify yourself," she hesitated. She almost said Leary. Then Evan, but neither felt true anymore. She took a breath. "I am both." The soldiers exchanged glances. "Both what?" She looked up at them, eyes glowing softly. "Human and Valari. War and peace. I'm what you made when you tried to destroy everything." One soldier aimed his rifle. "That's impossible." Evan's voice whispered inside her. "They won't listen." "I have to try," she said softly. "Drop your weapon," one soldier ordered. She took a slow step forward. "If you kill me, you kill the only bridge between two worlds." The soldier hesitated, just for a second, but then the rifle fired. A bright shot hit her chest. She fell backward. The impact burned, but no blood came out, only light. Evan's voice shouted inside her mind, "Get up! Don't let them end us." She pushed herself up, pain spreading like fire. The light from her wound grew brighter, wrapping around her body. The soldiers stepped back in fear. Her voice changed, two tones mixed as one. "You cannot destroy what you already are." Then with a burst of silver-blue light she vanished, leaving only ashes and silence behind. The soldiers stared at the empty air. The scanners still showed no life, but somewhere beyond the smoke and rubble a voice whispered in the wind. Two voices, one heart. "We are still here." The world was silent again. Ash floated through the air like snow, falling over the ruins of a forgotten war. The soldiers were gone. The smoke had cleared. And from that silence, a light began to move. It wasn't fire. It wasn't electricity. It was her. Leary and Evan, or whatever they had become, walked through the wasteland glowing faintly in the dusk. Her body was weak, every step slow, but her eyes burned bright. One violet, one blue. She didn't know where she was going. Only that she couldn't stop. The voices inside her head had changed. They were not fighting anymore. They spoke softly together. "The war is over," Evan's voice said. "Yes," she whispered aloud, "but the world doesn't know it yet." They moved through the ruins of what was once the Valari temple. Broken statues watched them, their faces lost to time. The ground still hummed faintly with the energy of the past, the same power that had created her. Evan's voice echoed gently. "Do you feel it?" "That's where we were born," she nodded, "and where we'll end." The bunker's memory still lived beneath the rubble, the place where they became one. But now that power inside her was unstable. The fusion that joined them was breaking apart. She could feel it, her body flickering between light and shadow, human and alien. Her heartbeat, or maybe two heartbeats, began to clash. Each beat pushed the other away. Leary fell to her knees, clutching her chest. "Evan, it hurts." "I know," he whispered. "We were never meant to stay like this. We're tearing each other apart." Tears shimmered on her face, glowing like small stars. "Then what do we do?" There was silence for a moment. Then Evan's voice came softly. "You have to let me go." Her eyes widened. "No, I can't. You're part of me now. You can survive without me." "But I can't without you," she shook her head. "I won't do it. If you don't, we'll both die," he said gently. "And the light we carry, the proof of what we are, will vanish with us." She clenched her fists. "You're asking me to kill half of myself." "No," he said softly. "I'm asking you to finish what I started." The wind blew across the ruins, carrying the smell of dust and old fire. Leary stood slowly, staring at the horizon. Far away, the human ships were leaving orbit. The war was truly over, but peace hadn't begun. "Not yet. If I let you go," she whispered, "what will be left of me?" "Everything that matters," he said. "The part that still believes in both worlds." Leary closed her eyes. The glow around her grew brighter. Her body began to split faintly, one side silver, one side human. The light trembled, unstable, like a candle fighting the wind. She remembered the first time she saw him, Evan kneeling in the ruins, his hands gentle, his voice full of fear and kindness. She remembered his promise to protect her, even when he didn't understand her. And she remembered the words that started everything. "Please, don't lift my skirt." She smiled weakly through her tears. You never should have listened to me, she whispered. If I hadn't, Evan said softly, we'd never have seen the truth. Her body began to break apart, light seeping from her skin, her hands turning translucent. The world around her glowed with her energy. She looked up at the sky. Evan. Thank you. His voice came faintly, like an echo fading into the wind. Don't thank me. Just live for both of us. Then he was gone. The voice in her mind fell silent. The second heartbeat stopped. The world felt emptier, but also peaceful. She fell to the ground, trembling, gasping. Her body flickered once more before settling into stillness. Only one light remained now. Gentle, steady, pure. The sky above began to clear for the first time in years. The clouds parted, showing the stars. Leary stood again, weaker, smaller, but alive. Truly alive. She looked at her reflection in a broken mirror nearby. Her face was still her own, but the eyes were human now. Blue, warm, and full of life. She touched the mirror gently. You're free, she whispered. And so am I. She turned away and began walking toward the distant hills, leaving the battlefield behind. Each step left a faint shimmer in the dust, like footprints made of light. Far above, the stars shone brighter, as if watching her. The war between two worlds had created her, but her choice ended it. As the wind carried her voice away, she whispered one final time, soft, sad, and beautiful. Evan lifted the skirt of truth, and it broke him. But from that brokenness, I learned how to heal. The screen fades to black, and in the silence, a faint voice, neither human nor alien, and whispers, "This is not the end. It's the beginning of what we could be."